Thank you, Girish. Thank you so much. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So that's where when I was doing a training for a lot of corporate leaders and managers, I found that they are able to do their job in the office well, but when they went back home, they found that their child is giving them even more trouble than their employees. So this needed a different shift, and that's where I made my mission to help every parent who comes in contact with me in some manner or the other, to help them become the first line coach and counselor to their children. Because when I was doing my internship for psychology in Baptist Hospital, I found that when a child came along with the father or the mother, and a doctor is a complete stranger to them, and they had some problems with them, they asked the parent to stay outside. And when the parent was outside, the child opened up so much to the doctor, which the parents did not know. For me, that was a problem. For me, if there is a problem, the first person that they should open up is the parent. And when the problems are high that the parent cannot, some psychological problems, that is where we need to go to a doctor. Most of the problems can be solved at home, unless you have mental problems, which are psychological problems, otherwise everything can be sorted at home. So the parent should be that counselor, know the skills of counseling, so that whenever the child is down, whenever the child is depressed, the first person they come to is the parent. And next, the child can also be confused at many times, do not know what to do. At that time, the parent needs to take the role of a coach, wherein you trigger your child to bring solutions on their own without giving them solutions. But we are so obsessed with our father and mother tag, the parent tag. We feel we know everything that is good and bad for the child, which is the biggest myth, I would say. We don't know what is good and bad for the child, because only the child is experiencing what the child is experiencing. But you can actually trigger the child to think for itself, right? And that will make the child even more responsible. When we give solutions, when we tell this is good for you, you do this, then we are taking responsibility for the child, which would not work in the longer term. Now, this parenting style, there are 4 parenting styles. This has a tremendous impact on every child. And our parenting style comes to us by how we were parented by our parents, our childhood experiences, what kind of people we saw as elders at that point in time. All this is there in our mind, and that is what determines what kind of a parent that I would be. And also we should understand the father and the mother are going to be completely different. That is, each one is going to have 2 different styles. And each one thinks, I want my child to become the way I want him to be. And then there is a clash between parents, right? So let us see what are the different parenting styles and what impact it has on the child, right? Because once you realize the impact, and if any of these are the styles that you are currently having, then there definitely needs to be a change in that. Okay, so let's get into the first style. So parents always have are either too demanding or low demanding, right? Some kind of parents they're very demanding on children. They want them to do exactly the way they want them to do, and some are not demanding at all. And the other quadrant that we look into is warmth. How close am I to my child? Am I exhibiting warmth to my child, or am I completely reclusive to my child, right? So here we look into the first kind of parenting style, which is called the authoritarian style, which is, I am the father or mother. I know what is good. I know what is right. You better listen to what I say. There are no choices given. There is nothing allowed to the child to think on his own. The action is do as I tell, because I am your father or mother. And if they do not obey, then severe punishment is given to children. Now, the biggest emotion for parents in these kind of parents is anger and highly egoistic, because anytime the child does not listen to the parent, they feel that the child is has hurt their ego and they need to be punished. Now, what happens to the child in this kind of thing? The child is very obedient here for the simple reason he fears the parent. So in growing years, if you find that the child, many people say, I wish my son was like the other person's son. He listens everything to the parent. Obedience is not all that good virtue. It could be out of fear as well. You're getting the point? They will be good achievers, because if they ask them to study, they'll study. If they ask them to do everything, they will do. They will not be allowed to question back But what happens within them is, since they have a lot of things to tell, lot of things to do, but everything is suppressed, they have a tendency to go into depression. These are the children who become very rebellious or become very submissive as they grow older, right? Chances of getting into bad company is very, very high, right? So the obedience could be out of fear. Obedience could be because they don't want to get punished. Obedience could be because they are suppressing a lot of things. And the child is helpless. There is no doubt about it. Correct? Parental figures are people with authority. And these children, as they grow big, two kinds of children emerge from this. One is a person who completely obeys his bosses, completely obeys everybody without even asking anything, or they become completely rebellious as well, because this is suppressed. So two types of people emerge with this kind of a parenting. What is the emotion in the child? Child has all very, very low self-esteem because he has been punished for everything that he's done, or anything that he does. The father says, this is not right, you need to listen to me, father or the mother. Okay, when I say father or mother, parent is for me same. There is equal responsibility of father and mother in parenting. There is no difference at all. No, nobody can say that mother has more responsibility or father has more responsibility. Nothing. They are both one unit and both are equally responsible for it, right? Child is fearful and ashamed of himself. Now, what is the beliefs that is formed in the child is, if I need to get approval of others, then I need to be conforming to what people say. So they will start becoming boss pleasers or people pleasers, because only then they feel that they can get approval, right? Because they've been punished throughout their life, right? So here they will be good achievers. They will be people who will follow systems. If there is any rule, they will not break it at all. They will not break it because that's how they've been brought up. But within them, there is a big a huge amount of suppression or depression which is being put down in their lives, right? The second one is called neglective parents. This can happen due to several reasons. One is maybe because the parents did not like the marriage, or the marriage is not worked well for them. The problems are so huge that children have become a burden. No, they say, to hell with you, because I have even more bigger problems with me. Or the parents are very, very career oriented. They want to build up their career so much that they are not even willing to look at the problems of the child, right? So low warmth and low demand here. They do not discipline them. They do not tell them what to do, no, nor do they give them any kind of directions, nor do they spend time with them. There can also be a reason wherein sometimes women who have delivered, they get into postpartum depression, and for some people it is very severe. It happened to one of my cousin's wives after her second daughter's birth. She became completely, means nothing affected her, and the elder daughter actually started bringing up the younger daughter. So this also could be a reason wherein the parent can become neglected. Okay, here they don't have time for the children. It could be all these three reasons. We don't know what is the reason, but for them, children are a botheration, or children do not bother at all, right? And they don't nurture, they don't discipline. They are only thinking about themselves, right? What happens to these kind of children, since they have found that they've got no love, affection from parents, no disciplining from parents, no kind of direction from parents, they become very, very, very aggressive, or tendency to become antisocial. They don't study well like the first people because nobody asked them to study, right? Academics are low, and these people might tend to show some kind of a psychological problem as well. Now in the child is completely confused, because whenever he goes to help from the parent, nobody is bothered, right? So child feels he is unimportant and not important at all in the, and whatever he feels from the parent is what he will think with the society as well. So he feels nobody can be trusted in this world, right? Everybody is selfish. Everybody does their own things. And that's where he will start getting into these antisocial groups, because he needs approval from somewhere, right? and peer pressure. Due to, in teenagers, you will find these kind of people being completely out of track, right? So this is neglective. It's not very common. It's not very common, except in places where both the parents have problems with their married life as well, or if they are too indulgent in their careers. Otherwise, this is not very common. Authoritarian is there, but in current scenario, we find this permissive type becoming too common. Here, the parents, they want to be the good father and mother to the child. They don't want the child to miss anything, because when they were children, they did not have all the facilities. So they want their child not to miss any of the facilities. And they fear saying that if they say no to the child, then the child will feel hurt and the child will not like them. You're getting the point? So 3-4 reasons for this. One, the childhood of the parents was very difficult, so they don't want the child to have any difficulty. Number two, the parents are busy, and because they are busy, they feel guilty that they are not spending time with the children, so they shower them with all kinds of gifts, all kinds of things, overindulgence. So you'll find some houses full of toys. The child will not look at the toy also, but it will be full of toys. And next time the child says, I want a toy, the father will go and get the best of the toy. He'll play for 5 minutes and he'll throw it off. He'll not be bothered at all. Next is one, I told you, because of their childhood, which was maybe very difficult. Second is because they're feeling guilty that they're not able to spend time. The third is their own self-ego. My child should have the best of everything. He should wear the branded clothes. He should go to the best of places. He should use the best of facilities. Their own self-ego, right? So these are all things which makes the child, which makes this kind of parenting. Allow them to do whatever they want. Now, what is the outcome that comes is the child becomes careless. Child does not care for rules. Child cannot hear no. Child will not follow any systems. Child feels life is very, very, very easy, right? And this brings a false sense of inflated ego in the child. Means he thinks I am the king of the world. Nothing can happen to me. And this is where suddenly when they start getting into corporate or getting into the external world, where people will say that, no, unless you perform, you will perish, or unless you do this, you are not getting. He cannot bear that, because till now, nobody told him life is difficult. He was made to believe that things are easy. And that's where you will find news that father did not give mobile to the child. 17-year-old went and committed suicide. In Hyderabad, you know that in 2020 December, the father and the daughter had some kind of a clash, and she went and hid in the bushes near a house for 4 days. 4 days, nobody knew where she was. She just went off, right? So this is where the children cannot accept no for anything. So it's very, very important that we make the children understand that things are not very easy. They need to work to get things done. Right? That's where I'll tell you, between 2.5 years and 2.5 years above and below, what is the thing that we need to do. In the end, I'll tell what we need to do. Okay. And the emotion in the child is bindas fellow, carefree. He will not bother for any rules, regulations. If you put him in a company which is very strict with all the rules, he will jump from there. He will not be able to do. So he will break all the rules. For him, he also understands one thing, that I can manipulate to get my things done. This child will easily understand what is the difference between both the parents. And this child knows which parents to actually knock his doors to get his things done. Because invariably in most of the houses, you will find one parent is strict and one parent is an emotional parent, right? Now this person will harp on the emotional parent to get things done. And the other parent who is strict will be made to be the villain of the home, right? So it could be either the mother or the father as well. So the child will start manipulating things to get things done, because the child has got everything right from the beginning, right? And what is the ideal type of parenting that we should have is called the authoritative type. Here, the parents support the child, the parents give choice to the child, but the parents say that now after giving the choice, the consequences of the choice, you are responsible, not me. Right? There is good bonding between the father and child or mother and child and everybody. There is no problem, but where they have to be strict, they are strict. Where they have to be lenient, they are lenient, and they give responsibility to the child. Emotion is, they are empathetic. They know exactly how their child is feeling at any point in time. Right? Now, there is mutual respect for parents. Both parents and children grow mutually. I always say the birth of the child is an opportunity for the parent to grow spiritually, because the child is living in as he has to live. Now we have made him live opposite of what we feel is right, and then we are trying to correct it later. The child is happy for no reason. No, if when he eats, he eats. After that, he sleeps. He is happy. He is happy for no reason, and that's what we want him to become in future. But we have complicated it, and we have told other reasons for it. Right? So, Louise Hay, in her book "You Can Heal Yourself," she says that children choose parents because they know it is under these parents that I can grow to my full potential. I don't know whether it is true or false, but it's a really powerful statement, because if I know that my children are choosing me as parent because they can grow to their full potential, then I would be always conscious to see what I'm doing right or wrong. Am I helping the child grow, or am I wanting my child to become in a mold that I think is right? And that's where most of us go wrong. I have an image of a child. I have an image of what my child should be. I ask him to fit into that. And if he does not fit into that, then I am worried. And that worry is what makes most of the children go out of their natural self. Right? So here again, the child knows. It is not that the child will become a sadhu or anything, but he knows what to do. He will be calm, connected. He will be aggressive, but the aggression will not go to problems like the other types of parenting. He knows his responsibility. He will take accountability for what he does. Right? And he knows that my feelings, whatever it is okay. And I can trust my parents, and I can open up to them whatever happens in my life. And this is what we need to do to children. Because if we force them to live in a life that we think is right, after 8 or 9 years, they will shut themselves out of us. They will not open to us. And we will not know what is happening to them. And that's where their peers will take over, because that's where they feel that no, they are getting the best of their life. So we need to make our children responsible for every action that they do. We should not take responsibility for their action. Right? So this is what is the ideal type of parenting, which is not easy, because we have to take our ego of the parent out of our head, that I know everything that is good. Right? Whatever I'm saying is right has to go off our head, which is difficult for most of the parents. And once we are able to do that, things are going to be really easy for us. Now, one question to all of us: how much responsibility will we take for our children? How much responsibility will we take for our children? %, 50%, 200%, full responsibility. Sharon says 100%. Srini says 50%. 50 is the other spouse, right? Yeah. Kritika says full. We claim 100%. Are they 100%? Okay. Tarun 50%. 100%, 50%. So 50%, I presume that is given to the other. Kiran Sidhe says 0%. Oh, Kiran says 0. Right? Not sure. Somebody says, okay. Let me tell you something which, if we are able to grasp this point correctly, will take 90% of our tensions out. Okay. And that is, you are not responsible for your children. Let us get this very clearly. But you are responsible to them for how you respond. Now, your child may get 0. You are not responsible for it. Your child may fight in school. You are not responsible. Your child may do throw tantrums at home. You are not responsible. But the moment he does something, how you respond to him is completely your responsibility. And that's how he is going to learn things. The moment I take responsibility for my children, then I will decide that you have to do engineering. You have to talk only to this friend. You should not do this. Then I start giving him suggestions for his life, which he will not learn. You're getting the point. Many of the mothers are terrified to attend a parent-teachers meeting because they don't know what they're going to tell about the child. You're not responsible for them. I'm telling you, you're not responsible. Many of them take the guilty feeling that, my God, my son or daughter is like this. What will others say? Am I a bad parent? You're not a bad parent. You are doing the best which you feel is right. Let us get that clear. Our parents did something to us because that is what they thought is right. Correct? Now, thinking that I am guilty or I am not a good parent is the first thing that we need to erase from our head. And the other thing is, nobody can be responsible for anybody. Nobody. Right? But we are responsible for our action. So my entire mission in my parent as coach and counselor, what I say is, I call it the doing nothing method, because you can't do anything on your children, but you can do everything within yourself, how you respond. In another book, Scream Free Parenting, the author, what he says, if a father gets angry on a 4-year-old child because the child is throwing tantrums or not behaving, the message that you are giving to the child is, a 4-year-old fellow, you have to behave properly so that father who's 40 or 50 years old can have his emotions under control. That's the worst thing that you can say. Correct? I am becoming wild because 4-year-old fellow is not acting properly and I lose my control. I don't have control of my emotions. That means a 4-year-old boy or a 5-year-old girl has to behave properly for this big man to have his emotions under control, which is the worst thing which can happen. I need to know how I am responding to the children at that point in time. That's all. And change your responses. You will find your children growing to become what they have to become. Don't make them do something which you want them to do, which is only your thought, your feeling. And in that itself, the husband will have a different thing. The wife will have a different thing. There will be clashes again. The child is expressing itself. The child may be crying, jumping, shouting, throwing tantrums. It is trying to communicate something. How nicely I understand that communication is something that we need to look into. And that's the role of parent. The child is already going to become what the child is going to become. Are we becoming a bottleneck, or are we allowing the child to grow to what the child has to become? That's all. That's all. So we are not responsible for children, but we are responsible to them on how I talk, how I behave, how I interact, how I respond. Complete responsibility is us. Right? Now, the last, I'll tell you the difference between 2.5 years below and above 2.5 years, why it's important. Below 2.5 years, the child cannot express most of the things. Okay? I'm telling generally, most of the things. Even when the child sees a stranger, it cries. When the child does not see the mother, it cries. When the child is hungry, it cries. When the child wets its pants, it cries. Everything it cries. The parents have to be empathetic enough to know why the child is crying, because for different reasons, only one expression, and we need to take care of that immediately. Most of the times, if we are not really empathetic, if we are not very close to the children, if the child cries, we'll think only it is crying because it is hungry or because it is sad. It need not be that. Maybe the child needs to change the diaper. Maybe the child has seen something. Maybe the child has heard a loud noise. That's all. Now, in this 2 years, it is where the child, 2.5 years is where the child is learning to trust the world, right? And if these needs are met immediately, the child will feel this world is a good place to live. And that's where parents' role is very, very significant here, right? Now, yeah, about 2.5 years, what happens is when the child is able to articulate, the child is now trying to learn how I can get things done from my parents. Here, whatever the child asks, it should not be given immediately. This is the difference that we need to do. But the problem is when we are extremely busy, We don't know why the child is crying below 2.5 years. We do something else. We may feed it, we may make it sleep, we may do something and all. We may do some. I'm not saying all, I'm saying if we are busy. And after that, after 2.5 years, what happened? The child is able to speak. The child is saying, Daddy, I want this. Now the father, young father wants to say, I want to fulfill all the needs of my child. He immediately goes and does that. This is a mistake. That is why tantrums become very huge in child, because you have already taught the child that whatever it asks is giving. He asked for a pencil, I gave 12 color pencils to the child. Ask for a toy, I gave the best toy. Ask for a playing thing, I gave the best of the things. So child starts feeling things become easy and easy and easy. It is okay till the child is asking for things which are small. The same child, when he reaches 10 or +2, he'll say, Daddy, I want Hayabusa. That time you tell, no, I don't have money. For him, that is not a reason. All my college friends have the latest bike. I want the bike now. That time when you say no, he will throw the worst kind of tantrums, right? So anything that your child asks, when the child is able to speak, both father and mother need to say, don't worry, we will get it for you, but let's hold on for some time. Don't do it immediately. That's why you will find in malls, children rolling on the ground to get things. And parents don't know what to do, because they are embarrassed what others will do. Immediately, okay, Baba, take and give off. You're getting it? Because if you know, after 3 or 4 days, you'll know that the child's mind will change. It is asking only to see how, where, which trigger I must push to parents to get what. Right? So that's where we need to know that. And then child will know that things are not easy. 4 or 5 times it will be difficult for you. Let me tell you, if already we've made this a habit, it's going to be difficult. But you need to hold on. You need to hold on. After 4 times, the child will understand, okay, now my father, what he says, he will do. Or mother, what she says, she will do. So I cannot play this trick. The problem here is, someone in us will break either emotionally or will become aggressive at that time. We may shout at the child for him doing this kind of tantrums, or we may say it is better give him and shut his mouth and give it off. And both will work backfire on our parenting methods there. We need to be firm, but we need not be aggressive. We need to be strict, but we need not restrict our love to them, right? Love is unconditional, but there are certain things which needs to be done. And only there we need to be firm with the children. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell to all of you. If there are any questions, I can take questions. And I don't know how much time do we have. Yeah, we are at
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. So we can take questions for 10 minutes. And
great, Girish. That was really wonderful. I guess you've opened up a lot of parents' mind as to what is the right kind of parenting which will help them in taking their children to the next level. That's really very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to get connected, no, they can connect to me at Simple Parenting Paradise, which I have a closed parenting group. Instagram is parent.alchemist. girishmanika.com is my website. Anywhere you can, so you have a lot of material which is there, and you can start using them there. Yeah. So yes, I'll take questions.
Yes. Anyone has any questions? Probably you can post it on the chat, or you can.
Girish, there are 2 questions already. One is from Avish. You're able to see that, Girish?
It's in the chat, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second.
Shall I read out the question for you?
How to deal with 9-year-old child's demand? Can I get few tips to rate the child? Here, as I told you, no, when the child is making a demand, understand that the child is only testing to see how far you will break at what point, right? And if you break emotionally, or if you become aggressive, then it is going to have the reverse effect of what you want. Now, you need to be very clear that whatever the child asks, you will put a natural lag in it. 2 or 3 days you wait, automatically the child will forget it. I'm not saying tomorrow if exam is there and the child is asking for a book which is not there, or exam sheet which is not there, you will put a lag. I'm not saying that. There are certain things, no, which suddenly a child sees that their friend has something and they want it, right? It happens with adults also. Suddenly they see in Facebook, no, that one family is gone for a foreign trip, then the wife will start nagging this husband, you didn't take us anywhere, see every time they are going. See, this is just something which started in childhood, which is continuing. Anything that they ask, both of you, and it's very important, both the parents need to be in consensus on this. It's not about what is right and wrong. The child should know that father and mother will take one decision. If the child knows that decision is different by both parents, child knows where to poke and where to get it. So if only father is there or only mother is there, you can tell them, no, let daddy come. I'll decide after daddy comes. Or if father is there, no, we'll decide when mother comes. And then take one decision. Don't look at whether it is right or wrong. Take one decision. And later you can change it. That's okay. But for the child, these two difference of opinion should not be there in the presence of the child. Right? So tips to raise a child is be firm, also make conditions before itself. In the sense, you should say that these are certain things which are allowed and these are certain things which is not allowed. Already it should be done earlier itself. And if you tell that, you should also tell, now if you deviate from this, this is what is going to be the consequence. And the consequence should be very high, especially mobiles. No, I mean, Kiran spoke very well on the use of mobiles. Now, people who are already accustomed to getting mobiles and you want to restrict the mobiles, you need to make the conditions very clear. 1 hour mobile per day. Okay. And if you deviate from that, you will not get mobile for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Make the conditions strong. Make the consequence strong. If the consequences are small, the child will not implement it. Just like the drunken driving. No, drunken driving, if you got only 500 rupees, means every fellow will drink and drive. You say drunken driving, I will cancel your license and 50,000 fine. Nobody will drink and drive. They will take a cab. So consequences has to be strong. Then only they'll be, even with your children. But when implementing it, don't implement it by getting angry. It's a rule, and that rule will be implemented. No being aggressive. Right? So yes. What is the next one is it's informative parent is grown authoritarian parents. How do they get over the past? See, this is a very important question because unconsciously, most of us act exactly like our parents. We are not conscious of it. You need to cleanse yourself of it. You need to know how much your past is affecting your present. And you need to write it off and burn it and throw it and take it off your memory completely. Because many of us unconsciously I act just like my father or just like my mother. No? So we need to give that, take it off completely. So it's a cleansing process which needs to be done consciously. Yeah. How to handle teens in a better way? It's a very general question. No, teens have to be handled just like adults. You know, teens have to be handled just, if you're giving a lot of suggestions, if you're giving them directions, it won't work. Right? But you need to take them as your friend, talk to them. Again, it's a process. It is not suddenly everybody became teens. No, they've lived for 12 years and suddenly 13, they did not change. How you brought them up in these 11, 12 years also matter. Right? So did you give them, did you allow them to make mistakes? Did you give them choices? Did you give them the choice to make mistake and learn from the mistake? All these things matter. All these things matter. And also understand in teens, whatever they are doing, even they don't know what they are doing because their hormones play a bigger effect in their life. That we need to be conscious. No, we also did so many mistakes in teens. At that time, we did not know. So be conscious of that so that anything that you tell them or do to them, they are also everything. One basic rule for all children is children should understand that my parents understand what I am undergoing. That's all. You should be able to, they should understand that you understand their feelings. And without understanding, if we are giving them direction, suggestions, it will never work. It will never work. It will work. Right? Thank you, beautiful gentlemen. Tips as teachers to understand the child and this. Thank you so much. These tips help. Absolutely, absolutely. We have a person who has taken our parent as coach and counselor course, who is a principal of a Madurai school, and he is implementing it in a very big way in his school. So, though qualification is not a good idea, but how much time should we spend with a child? See, when the child needs you, at least do not brush him aside. In the sense, I may be there, I may be busy, and the child is actually coming and showing me something. At least I need to tell my child that I am busy now, I can see it later. But if we do that, don't disturb me because I'm busy, that itself is enough for the child to actually break. You're getting the point. We need to tell the child or give the feeling to the child that you are there and you understand there. I'm not saying that you should leave your work and look into what they're saying, but at least tell the child that I'll come back to you after maybe 15, 20 minutes after I finish my work. That's enough for the child. Because many a times, whatever small things the child does, it's small for us, but for the child, that's the biggest thing on earth. A small A which a child wrote, which he could not write, and he wants to bring and show it to the father, and the father was busy doing something, or the mother was busy in the kitchen, and said, no, don't, not now, I'll see later. That is enough for the child to get a feeling that my parents think something else is bigger than this, right? So not time as such. The child will know if we genuinely are there with the child or not. As simple as that. How to know that a child is speaking true? Not an easy question, but the child will only start hiding things from us if we have reprimanded the child for even small mistakes. If we have accepted small mistakes, then the child will not. And if you are open to your child to tell everything that happened in your life, normal things, in my office this happened, if you're telling your child, the child will tell open to you. But if you're only asking what happened, why did you do this, questioning mode, the child will escape from you, right? Most of us ask, what did you do today? Why did you do this? To whom did you talk today? What did they take in class today? Policeman type. When we are policemen, he will become a better robber. He will escape from all the things. Have a normal conversation with your child, explaining all the things, or just talking like your friend, you will find that they will open up to you. How to develop responsibility? Give them choices, make them responsible for the choice, and let them face the consequence. That's it. How to handle children who are going to be teen? Yes, I told you, you need to treat them like adults itself. Don't be too suspicious. Don't be too breathing down their neck. It will backfire. Give them the freedom, but yes, have a friendly approach with them. Woman, when undergoes emotional changes, is it okay to let 10-year-old know and educate and not take it personally? As a woman, when one undergoes emotional changes, is it okay to let, you can tell the child, no, I'm not feeling well now, right? I'm not feeling well. No, maybe I can talk to you later. That's better. Because when we are not having control on our emotions, anything that you do is going to be wrong. Let us understand that very clearly. A father may have very busy, bad day at work. No, he may be stressed, and any action that he does at that point of time when he is stressed is not going to be right. So you need to stop interacting at the time and say that I'm not feeling good now. Maybe we can talk later. But don't tell what you're undergoing. That doesn't, you can say that I'm not feeling well now, or I'm not keeping good now, something like that. Yeah? But don't act at that point in time. Is there a tool questionnaire? Yes, there is a tool for parenting questionnaire style, Tarun. Yes, it is there. Thank you. Completely agreed with what you just come to made. Thank you, Vipin. Yes, I think all the questions are answered. Is it?
I think there was one question in the Q&A session. What is the name of the book? I think you did mention about a book.
Okay. Louise Hay's book is You Can Heal Yourself. Okay, where she tells that children choose parents. The other book is Scream-Free Parenting. Scream-Free Parenting, wherein he says, he only says that you're not responsible for your children, but you're responsible to them. Okay, Scream-Free Parenting's author's name I am not getting correctly. You can check it out. Scream-Free Parenting, and Louise Hay's You Can Heal Yourself. Yeah. What is the question in Q&A?
Yeah, the same thing.
The same question.
Okay.
You just answered. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this.
Thanks everyone for attending the webinar, and once again, thanks Girish for your valuable time of 1 hour and giving us a lot of information about parenting. And I see that this will really help everyone, irrespective the people who are under 5 or above 5 years old also.
Absolutely.
So to start implementing accordingly.
Sure.
So one last question, Girish, before we close.
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Sharon.
What's that? But sometimes it happens that even if parents are open, but if somebody else is at home, children will get scared of those people. So that time, what?
How to handle? How to handle?
What is that? But sometimes, see, what happens is when somebody else is there, right? We have only taught our children that when somebody is there, we have to behave different, and when we are at home, we have to behave different. In the sense, a simple example: if we are at home sitting and having dinner or something like that, if our child pulls from the other table or something, we don't tell anything to the child. But if somebody is there, guest is there, we say, hey, behave properly, behave properly. So we are making two rules, and then the child is confused. Allow the child to be whatever the child is. See, the child may say sometimes something which is not, not that we think is right in front of others, but the child is just being open. Don't take all these things very seriously. It is only my thought. I want my child to behave in this manner. Otherwise, there is something which is, I am going to, my ego is going to be hurt. My prestige is going to come down. But it's not the problem of the child. It's what I am feeling. How to handle a girl child, 13-year-old in a better way? Better way, what is that? It's a very generic question. I don't know how to answer that in a better way. I don't know what is the problem there to handle in a better way, no? Tarun, I can send you the questionnaire. Not a problem. I can have you the parenting style questionnaire. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Kish. Thank you so much, Girish. I think it was a wonderful session. I think Anna, you saw the reviews, right? Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Definitely we're going to have one more session soon. I think
my pleasure. My pleasure. We'll take this to as many places as possible.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.
Thanks for joining. And join back on Friday for one more webinar on nutrition for kids. I'm sure all of you want your kids to be, healthy and have more immune, right? So we have one more webinar coming up: nutrition for overall child development and building immunity, by Mr. Kiran. Is a nutrition advisor and wellness coach. So please join for the webinar on Friday. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining.